Hey guys, what's up? It's Biscuit Horror Reviews. I'm here with a review of a 2019 surrealist fantasy horror comedy film from director Nick Gadsby. This film is called My Neighbor Wants Me Dead. This is essentially a 51-minute long silent film about a guy who continually tries to make it out of his apartment but keeps failing, only to be killed by his neighbor every single time. I don't really know where to begin with this film, because much like a film I reviewed just like a week ago, St. Bernard, this movie's kind of hard to criticize because it's not necessarily your average movie. This isn't as weird as St. Bernard, but this is something. So I guess I'll just start with some of the good things about the movie. The visuals in the film are very interesting. They sometimes are minimalistic, sometimes they are psychedelic and very bright and colorful and sporadic. The style is present in almost every aspect of the film, from the use of just focusing on still frames and moving the actual like the actual frame itself, or the kind of like the view of the film, the screen. I guess I should say just moving the screen kind of around on top of a frame in a way. Is pretty interesting. There's weird uses of editing, some quick cuts. The movie sometimes even feels like a '90s like full motion video horror game like Harvester or Phantasmagoria. There are sometimes, throughout the entire film, there is a VHS filter on top, and the very colorful and humorous nature of the intertitles, because please keep in mind this is a silent film, there's no audible dialogue. The use of text and humor on those intertitles is actually pretty funny and pretty interesting at times. It's definitely something I haven't really seen done with a silent film before. I don't really want to comment on the acting here, because there's only two major cast members, and only one of them really has, any screen presence or screen time. And plus, it's a silent film, there isn't any dialogue, so I'll just go ahead and give it the benefit of the doubt and say that the acting is pretty good in the film. The writing is also pretty good, at least, what I can get from the intertitles, and as well as the actual plot, I thought was pretty interesting overall. The film's style is kind of a combination of, like I said, '90s full motion video, horror games, The Forbidden Zone, and the recent Flying Lotus film Kuso. If you haven't seen that one's definitely a fucking wild one. And there are times in this movie where it feels very similar to Kuso. The film is pretty well paced. It never really gets necessarily boring, and considering the film has a 51-minute runtime, that would be surprising if it got boring in that runtime. I wasn't the biggest fan of this movie personally, despite this seeming like something that's extremely up my alley. Though towards the last 15 to 20 minutes, the editing got a little too sporadic and hyperactive. The editing and style, that is, and it just really started to give me a headache, and it started to annoy me more than it pushed me further into the film, made me more interested in paying attention. I can still understand and completely dig and really, really appreciate what the film is going for and all the effort that is put in, because this is obviously a film that is a labor of love. It's very stylistic, and you can tell that the director has quite a bit of talent, and definitely has an interesting style. So despite me not loving it, I could still definitely recommend this film. Honestly, if you're looking for something that's interesting, it's unique, it's relatively simple in its setup, and it's pretty visually interesting, and you don't mind it being a silent film, this is not a bad choice for a film that only runs for 51 minutes. This film is actually on YouTube, uploaded by the director himself, and I will link the film in the description because it's definitely worth checking out. Even if I wasn't the biggest fan of it, I would still probably recommend it to anybody who enjoys kind of weird, offbeat, psychedelic, surreal cinema, because this is definitely quite an interesting film for how simple the setup is and how kind of um, easy I guess each segment is, because this film could be is basically just multiple different segments of this guy trying to escape his apartment and continually failing. But anyway, guys, that being said, I'm gonna have to give this one like a 2.5, maybe a 3 out of 5. It wasn't something I was super into, but I can appreciate it, and I would definitely recommend giving it a watch if this is your kind of thing. Anyway, that's it for this one. I just wanted to get this quick little review out there. This is Biscuit Boo Horror Reviews signing off. Peace.